In 1964, two suspicious deaths have rocked the south coast resort of Farmerton. None of this seems to worry the local MP who was last seen, shall we say, canoodling on the riverbanks with the secretary of one of the victims. Will things go from bad to worse, and can anything save the picturesque valley from the construction of a dreaded motorway? Ted Rabbit, or Bunny as he's known to his friends, is not a happy camper. He has just received a compulsory purchase order for his business, the Ace Cafe, and in 1 month's time it has to close. Now I know, it sounds very dodgy to me too, but there you go. So Ted needs cheering up. Gardening's a very good distraction, but unfortunately Ted doesn't have a garden. So we thought we'd build Ted an allotment. So the first thing you're going to do is to decide on the size of your allotment and draw it out on a piece of card. Remember, allotments and everything to do with gardening isn't all square and rectangular. So basically, you just want to draw your patch of land here. I'll just scribble it out here. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to cover this with green flock, much as we did on the hills there. And the next thing you do is to take a scalpel and very carefully, you're going to cut out the area you've marked out. And you're going to peel off that layer. Once that's done, and this whole thing has been peeled off so it's a little bit lower. Cover this in glue, again this section, and with the brown flock material, cover the whole thing. Again, use the back of your hand to press it down. Now, having got thus far, we have got one we did earlier, haven't we, Brian?
Yeah, sure.
Let's have a look at this. Now then, this is what you end up with. So, what have we got here then, Brian?
Well, for a start, we got lettuces.
I think he likes that. Keep, you know, a bit of vegetables and stuff. He can use them in his cafe.
Yeah, well, the easiest way I've found of doing that sort of thing is to use cigarette paper.
If I cut a strip off, so just
That's right.
about that wide?
It depends. The width decides how big they're going to be.
What do I do now?
We screw it up.
Right, okay, screw it up. How big? Small? Little?
Just
Tiny?
up into a tight little ball.
Okay, tight, tight, tight. I
Yep.
can do it quite tight, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not scared. All right, there we are. I've done that. Now what do I do?
Over here, we got some watercolour paint.
There we go. So that's my cabbage. Now what happens?
Well,
Oh, you're just dibbling it into the paint?
yeah,
Soaking it in
You
there.
just let it soak in.
Right.
And you'll find that it sort of unravels when you do that.
Okay, that's all right. We
That's
don't mind
fine,
that.
yeah.
I do know.
Put
Can
it
I-
between your fingers.
Right.
And don't squeeze it as hard as you did before.
Okay, just sort of roll it.
What I usually do is put some
Super glue. So you dob it into some super
Yeah.
glue. I'm going to plant this now. He's going in now. All I'm going to do is just pop it in there, right?
Yeah.
Now this is the slightly fiddly a bit, isn't it? Because you've got to kind of tease it into shape. Get in there. That's it. He's in. That's brilliant. That really looks like a cabbage, even though it's a lettuce. What else can I plant then?
Well, you can use this stuff, which is called foliage material.
Right.
It's what we actually used
Used
up
on the
here.
hill.
That's right, and it's very good for sort of nondescript plant life. Just cut narrow strips up,
How long?
as long as you want.
Okay. Just going to put a couple of dobs of that on there. There we go. Dob him in. Can I do another one? Another strip?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know what that is on planting, but he looks good, doesn't he? Travel on a bit of that.
The thing about doing things like this is that we're trying to give the overall impression of something.
Yeah.
We're not trying to make something that's an absolute replica of a garden.
So these are nice. What are these then?
Well, they came from this, which is, basically a hedge that we chopped up.
But you can buy this.
Yeah. When you're doing this sort of thing, you've just got to have an eye for
What
seeing
you
the
can do with
possibilities.
these. Right. Now this is something I'm really proud of. I was thinking runner beans.
Yeah.
How can we make them look really realistic? What I've done, I cut a bunch of bristles off the broom. Sorry about that. It's your broom. And what I've done is I stuck them together so they stand up like that. But I wasn't content with that. No, I went one stage further. And what I did is I got the little thing and I dipped it in super glue and I dipped it into your foliage stuff. And now I'm going to plonk him in, and there he is. Runner bean. Very proud of that, you can tell, can't you? Anyway, now I'll tell you what we need.
It's looking good.
What we need now, an old shed.
Yeah.
Because they always have sheds. And I was
Yeah.
thinking I could put a shed here. The greenhouse lives here. And this is what it looks like when it's finished. You know, the nice thing about an allotment is, whether it's real or a model, you can always go back to it and potter. last 30 years, Jim has been building and improving his O-gauge garden railway, and by anyone's standards, it's a pretty impressive piece of engineering. Jim, how did you get into building garden railways? What made you think of that?
I think it stemmed from an uncle who had one many years ago as a boy, and I got my ideas from him.
So now, where did you base this one on? What sort of area have you based this in?
It's on the Whitby district. We've got the Whitby terminus in one shed and a fictitious Eskdale in another.
Jim used great ductwork and roof tiles to make this viaduct, and this one was made using cast concrete. He's even removed the greenhouse to make way for a station. I do like a man who gets his priorities right. But probably the most impressive thing about Jim's railway are the two signal boxes. And to help him run the layout today, Jim has invited his mate Robin from the Keighley Model Railway Club. Right, Robin, hello mate, how are you?
Hiya.
Alright, now we want to run some trains.
Yeah.
I want to play some trains, but we've got all this signalling malarkey. Now, what's all this about?
Well, this is a single line working, so we have a block instrument exactly as a prototype had. And that's an instrument that only ensures you have one train on one section of track at once.
Right, well, Jim's in the other signal box over there. We could shout across, but we're going to be prototypical here. Do it like the real thing. So tell me what to do.
Well, we're going to press the bottom. It's just like a Morse code instrument. Press that just once.
Okay.
And that'll ring in the other box. And if we get an answer back, we know it is awake, is ready, is listening. Okay. So now we can offer him a train, and there's a Morse code, a series of bells for each type of train.
Okay.
We're going to send a local train here, and that's 3 and then 1. So that's 3 in quick succession.
Ding, 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 1.
1.
Okay,
right.
shall I do
so
it?
if you offer that.
Okay. How's that? So that means line clear.
Yeah, he's ready to accept the train. His line's clear. It is ready for us to send him a train out. Now what we do is we can set off the train within our station limits. To do that, we'll have to throw the signal. We have, as in all signal cabins, in the old days, we have a proper diagram up there. It'll be signal 32 we pull off. So if we go down to lever 32,
right, can I do
pull
it?
that off, yeah.
Okay.
And that will release
Which
the
way
signal
do I do it?
just towards you there.
Towards me. Okay, that's my signal. The signal's gone down.
The signal's gone down in front of the engine there.
Right.
We're setting that train off within our station limits, but as it passes and goes out into the garden through the shed there,
I'm off.
bell him too.
Okay. Right, do it now.
Yeah. And we can pull the switch to the left there.
To the left.
The train online.
Okay, train online. We're off. This is great.
That's lovely.
I like that.
And away it goes down the garden there.
So this is the system that was used all over the place?
That's right, nationally. And it was fail-safe for many, many years. We're operating the model railway with the rail equipment as per the rail thing. The only difference is the trains are models rather than rail thing.
I like the fact we got a phone.
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, pepperoni. All right, so he's going to ding the bell, and it will come trundling back with a bit of luck.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Again.
1, 2, 3, 1.
You think?
Line clear.
Right.
Nothing to it. How hard can it be?
Easy.
Right, stand back. Here it comes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh,
I know.
all
Where's
the
the bumper
passengers
stop?
on there. Hundreds of lives at stake here.
I know. I'm all right. I'm okay. I think they went pretty smoothly.
Headmaster's here now. Shh, shh.
That was all right, wasn't it? I mean, for my first day on the job. No, really, first day on the job, it wasn't bad, was it?
Well, I can recommend you for signal school.
I found that I'm quite stressed now. That was quite stressy.
Go for a lie down in a cold room.
Blimey, yeah. Can I borrow your bed? No, all right. Whilst Jim's railway fills his back garden, I've gone to the other extreme and built one that fits into a coffee table. And I'll be showing you that after the break. In the first episode, I happened to mention that I built a layout into a coffee table, and this is it. So let's take a few minutes just to have a look at some of the finer details. First thing is, it's 009. Now what that means is, it's the same size people that we're using on the Bluebell Railway, but the track is half the width. It's narrow gauge. It's set in 1959 in a picturesque little hamlet with a little bit of light industry and a rapidly right-wing population. Here's an interesting chap. Blackjack, murders his game, done a lot of time. Pentonville to Scrubs, done a lot. Anyway, best job you can possibly have. Night watchman on the railway, alone with his thoughts, planning his next atrocity. One of the things I like a lot about this layout is that it's quite fun at night as well, because the whole thing lights up. For example, Jack here has got a lantern in his right hand and a little brazier there to keep him warm. Now, they use LEDs. Then we've got the street lamps, which are grain of wheat bulbs. There's the clock tower, that's got a grain of wheat bulb in it. But one of the things that took the longest time and I'm most proud of is the Morris Minor, because the headlights light up on this and they use fibre optic cables. Very good system. So we're going to be talking about different kinds of lighting later on in the series. On the other side of the layout is the station with the stairs leading up to the village. Now for the stairs, all I did was cut out little tiny pieces of plastic, lay them down, again cover them with plaster, and the rails I made little bits of nails, cut the end off, drilled holes and a little bit of cotton to make the handrail that goes up the side. New addition here, signal box with the signalman outside, and his lamp he's holding in his right hand, that lights up as well. Going a little bit further, there's a film crew busily working away with a presenter there. There's a bloke fishing in a stream. What else you got? Well, there's the pub with people cleaning up outside and someone looks like they're, oh, that's not good. Anyway, it's a busy little community and it's packed into a tiny space. Right, you'll have to bear with me here for a minute because, believe it or not, 10 minutes ago the transformer blew up, so I've had to rig something temporarily. The only problem is that the trains are running at a scale speed of about 450 miles an hour. Here we go. You might hear a slight sonic boom as they go around that corner there. The way it's arranged is this. You've got two separate tracks. It's an outer one and an inner one. So you can have trains running in different directions doing different things. Right, well that's quite enough of that. That's not the only thing I make. Come and have a look at this. This is a model of a play. It's The Woman in Black. Very scary story. For those of you who don't know the play, basically it's about a chap who's haunted by visions of a little old lady, and every time she appears, something bad happens. And here it is in this model. Now, lights please, gentlemen. Here we are, theatre lights up, mid-performance, and here's our hero toiling away. He's been sent up to this desolate house to sort out the lady's will. And here he is toiling through the day on all the paperwork. And he toils into the evening. And as day gives way to night, look what happens. Oh, me ticker, look what's happened there. Through the window, the little bay is bathed in moonlight. His candles come on the desk. And over there is the ghostly apparition of the little old lady. One last thing to show you. George. Basically, Georgie is the little sister that I never had. What she's made out of is a skull that I got from a second-hand shop. And I chopped it around a bit and I put a gizmo in. Basically, the eyes work by, remember those little flowers that used to dance in time with the music? That's what's in there, and I've put a little kind of mechanism together, and that's what does all the eyes and stuff. And there's some nice little LEDs in there twinkling away. This I stole from a patient in one of the hospitals around the corner. I don't think you'll miss it now. And the burning question on everyone's lips, including Dave the director, is why did you do it? Well, I don't think that's important. I think the important thing is that we love each other and we want to be together. Right, well, while Ted's away at the allotment we've built for him, tending his cabbages and stuff, taking his mind off the fact that his Ace Cafe is about to be compulsorily purchased in a month or so, what we want to do is to make it look a bit more natural and a part of the layout. So the first thing I want to do is to get rid of all these vehicles. So we're just going to move them over to the side, get them out of the way, get the bikes out. We'll be very careful with our bikes, put them down there. Now we can move Ted's Cafe out. And the reason for that is because I don't think Ted's Cafe will actually be on a nice tarmac surface. I think it's got kind of a grit dirt road. So what I'm going to do is to use PVA, our old friend. Lovely, 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 lovely. The more the merrier, really. I'm not going to be scared of PVA. I will not be held hostage to the PVA thing, scary thing. So there we are. Smooth this out a bit like this. Taking our gravel, it's just a case of tipping it on. Now the gravel is actual gravel. It's very, very fine, and you get this in model shops just like all the other scatter materials. And I thought I'd add a little bit of brown scatter material to this because it would be kind of grubby because of all the trucks. I'm also going to start chucking in some green flock material as well. Now I mixed up a little bit of PVA and some water and some washing up liquid, and it sets it all rock hard. Here we go. What happens is the washing up liquid breaks the surface tension, and if you don't have it in the mixture, the PVA and the water just sit on top of it like a glob. If you think it's the wrong colour, you can always go over it again with a car spray paint just to bring the colour up, or get yourself a little airbrush and just top it up with some acrylic paints. The Ace Cafe is also home to the notorious Blackjack motorcycle gang. Now these lads are no stranger to a spot of welding, and many of them have been employed by the men from the waterboard who are busy burrowing away into the hills behind us. Now many of them didn't really think much about it until they were forced into signing the Official Secrets Act. Now a few of them are starting to ask questions. Obviously we're going to model all the mysterious goings on that are happening under the hills of Farmerton. So to get some inspiration, I went to visit a former nuclear bunker with author Nick McCainley. He's written a number of best-selling books on the subject. If it's top secret, mysterious and underground, the chances are that Nick's been in it. There is something very mysterious being built in the hillsides of our model by people who claim to be from the waterboard. Now, am I being paranoid? Is this a flight of fancy? Or, I mean, did things like this really exist in the 50s and 60s?
Oh, I don't think you're being paranoid at all. I think there's probably more built than you'd ever imagine, actually, underground, built not just during the 50s and 60s, but right up to the 1990s. I say, for instance, in the introduction to my book about nuclear bunkers, I say that within 50-mile radius of the house that I live in, which is 2 miles away up the road here, there are 30 nuclear bunkers. 30? 30 bunkers of different types. And they range from the little 4-man Royal Observer Corps underground posts right up to the central government war headquarters, the fabled city of Burlington at Corsham. And that is where central government would have gone had there been a nuclear war. It's like Whitehall, it's a microcosm of Whitehall. There's accommodation in this place, 100 feet underground, built in a disused stone quarry, bomb-proof, radiation-proof, biological warfare-proof, everything-proof. Accommodation there for these 7,500 civil servants, every government department.
7,500
7,500, yeah. There's dormitory space for them, there's huge restaurants, they've got their own bakery, their own laundries, their own hospital, and also there's accommodation for the royal family. At least there was accommodation for the royal family, certainly in the 1960s.
This place was originally designed as a regional command centre, and as we nosed around the underground generators, air conditioning plants and water tanks, Nick told me of all manner of strange subterranean complexes, such as telephone exchanges, national grid control centres and even factories. We were kindly allowed access to this extensive bunker by its new owners, the Avon Fire Brigade, converting it into a rather impressive training facility. This huge area here would have been the main operations centre for the bunker. What you've got to imagine is a great big map table with people pushing things around with snooker cues. Now, this is Bob Clark, who's an archaeologist from Bath University. Now, you know about things like this. This is something we found, and we're rather pleased with. Now, can we have the lights off, please, Nick? Thank you very much. This painted perspex is amazing. Shine the light onto the edge of it, and the whole thing seems to light up. I'm wondering if I can't use this idea for a neon sign on our model. So this is one of a number of panels that went together to form a big map of England and Wales. What is it actually showing, Bob?
Each one of these sets of lines like this is set in, gives you a group. Within a group you have an HQ building.
So these would be like the one we're sitting in at the moment, would be like these white triangles.
That's right. In fact, that is where we are sat now.
Okay.
In that particular one there.
And what are all these red things around here?
Each one of these is an underground room with 3 staff in it who would monitor blast, flash, and some would take rudimentary weather readings as well for this command
So
centre.
these are the ears and eyes for this thing here, for the,
Exactly.
for the command post.
Exactly.
Now what are these ominously shaped red things here?
Each one of these day glow mushrooms is exactly that. It is a mushroom cloud.
So this is where the bomb would have landed. Okay, so I'm sitting up there, I'm in my little house, stroking my cat, the bomb's gone off. What's going to happen to me? What I'm interested in is me.
Well, unless you have a purpose-built shelter,
Which I
like
don't.
this one.
Which I haven't got.
Well, that's the end then, really.
So it wasn't
If we're honest.
really, it wasn't all this sort of early warning stuff. It's not about us, it wasn't about civilians, was it? What was the whole reason behind it?
It's all to do with the military infrastructure of this country. It's to give them warning.
Sitting in this bunker, and you actually think it's quite chilling, isn't it, really? That whole Cold War thing.
Yeah,
What if this place is up for sale? Now, if you think this has got nothing to do with models, that's where you're wrong. Take a look at this. This is part of a much larger model built in 1998 for Operation Diagonal Glance. You think our story is complicated? Have a look at this. A fireman is on his way to a small fire, which he attends to and successfully puts out, but he looks across his shoulder at a field over there and notices a plume of smoke. An American plane has crashed into a pylon containing a nuclear weapon. Now, the farmer whose field the plane has crashed into goes in to remonstrate with the American forces who have surrounded the area. He is shot dead. Now you've got the police involved, the army involved, the ambulance service, the fire brigade. You think our story's mad? Have a look at this. Thoroughly inspired, I hurried back here to start work on our own underground citadel. Now, the thing I like about making models is that you create your own world, and in your own world you can sometimes see things which are normally hidden from view. This, for example. Now, this is a section of what's being built into the hill behind us by men who claim they're from the waterboard, but I think there's something else altogether. Now, have a look at this. I've just knocked this up out of strips of 3mm MDF. I've made a little lid for it, painted it white and popped it in there. Now, this is something they don't want you to see, but we've managed to hack into their CCTV system and we can watch what they're doing anytime, night or day. But we haven't really. What we've done is got one of these. This is what is known as a CMOS camera. Now, you can get these from electrical shops and they cost about 40 quid. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave this under the layout and leave this running. We'll have a little black and white monitor on the outside, and any time we want, we can just watch what is going on in the spooky underground citadel. Now, I have to say, the giant duck wasn't my idea. I think that's a byproduct of some sort of genetically modified brine thing, but it's very, very interesting. Now, these blokes who claim to be from the waterboard, they say they're building a hydroelectric power station, which is a bit rum, considering the nearest dam is 120 miles away. Something is very, very fishy indeed.